reception, I hope you're all okay. So before watching this video, you need to make sure that you've watched Miss Wright's video telling the story of the snail and the whale, okay? Because we're going to be using that story to do some writing today in this video. So you need to make sure you've listened to the story a few times with Miss Wright reading it and that you know the story really well before you do this, what is on this video, okay? So, assuming that you've already listened to the story now and that you've heard it a few times and that you know it, so we're going to be doing some writing today based on the story The Snail and the Whale. Okay, so what we're going to be doing, we're going to be writing a postcard from the snail. Now, you might not know what a postcard is because people don't really use postcards much anymore. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about what a postcard is. A postcard is it's like a type of letter, and people used to send postcards when they were on holiday, and postcards usually they're like a little piece of card and they have a beautiful picture on one side, usually of the place where the person has gone on holiday. So if you went on holiday to Spain, you might have a postcard with a picture of a lovely beach in Spain on the front. Okay, and then on the back of the postcard, people have some space to write a message to somebody back home, and they also usually put the address of the person back home as well. That's where they live. Okay, so I've actually made a giant postcard. So postcards aren't normally this big, but this is just so I can show you easily. So if you look here, so on my postcard, so I've not got a picture on mine yet, but that's because I'm going to draw the picture and you'll be drawing the picture on your postcard as well. Okay, so this is where my picture is going to go. And then here, I wonder if any of you can guess what this might be. This is actually the stamp. So when you send a postcard in the post, you have to put a stamp on it, just like you would with a letter, so that people know that you've paid to send it. Okay, so this is a giant stamp I've used here. I've actually got some real stamps here to show you. So these are real stamps. So you might have seen these before. You might have seen your mum or your dad or someone in your family putting one of these on a letter and posting it before. Okay, and that's what you have to put on letters or postcards before you send them. Okay, so like I said, usually people send postcards when they're on holiday, and often they will use the space on the back here. So I've got some space here to do my writing, and they'll write about maybe what they've been doing on holiday, what fun things they've been up to and things like that. Okay, so people don't really usually send postcards anymore because we have things like Facebook or Instagram or email, and people usually use the computer to send their family back home a message, or they might phone them or things like that. But when I was a little girl, I remember going into shops and buying postcards when I was on holiday, and sometimes I used to send them to my granny and granddad back home, or maybe my friends as well. So they don't really get used much now, but they used to get used a long time ago. Okay, so we're going to have a go at making our own postcard and writing our own postcard today. So, as you can see here, I've got space where I'm going to do the picture. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my picture for my postcard. Now, I wonder if you can remember, who did we say our postcard was going to be from? So we've just been reading the story, The Snail and the Whale. Ooh, who's been listening well? So we said the postcard was going to be from the tiny snail, didn't we? It was going to be from the snail because, do you remember in the story, the snail has a holiday in a way, doesn't he? He goes on a really big adventure with the whale, like a big holiday, and they go and travel around everywhere. So in this postcard, I'm going to be drawing a picture of the snail and the whale on the front, and I might do some things that they've seen as well on their journey, on their adventure. And then on the other side, this is where the snail is going to be writing about what he has been doing. So he's going to be writing the postcard to his family back home. He's going to be writing it to his mum and his dad. Okay, so we'll get to the writing bit later, but first we're going to start off by drawing the picture. And I'm going to show you how I do it, and maybe that will help you with drawing your picture as well. Okay, so I'm all set to start drawing my picture for my postcard. So when you're doing your postcard, you could just use a piece of normal paper to do yours. So you can do the picture on one side, and then later we'll flip it over and we'll do the writing on the other side, okay? So you might have noticed I've actually left a little bit of space here, and this is actually just a little bit of space to write the address of the snail's family, where his family live. That was just because I didn't have room on the other side really, and I wanted to make sure I had room to do my message from the snail. Okay, so we're just going to, on this poster, we're just going to pop the address on the picture side later. Okay, so let's make a start on our picture. So if you want to, you can do your picture along with me while I'm doing mine to help you, or you could pause it after I finish and then you could go and have a go at doing your own picture. Okay, it doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. You do whatever you would like to do for your picture from the story. Okay, so I'm going to start off just by doing some C at the bottom of my picture, because there's lots of C in the story of the snail and the whale. In fact, I'm going to get the book to show you. So if you can see here we've got the big ocean, the sea, where the snail and the whale are travelling. So I'm going to do the C at the bottom. I'm just going to do a long wavy line all the way across my postcard. There we go, can you see? Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is the whale. Okay, so to do the whale, I'm going to draw, it's going to be like a half a circle, like a semicircle, and it's going to be coming out of the sea. So I'm going to do like a circle shape, or half a circle shape here. And then I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom. I'm actually going to come up again, and then I'm going to make like a sort of a V shape, like the sound V. There we go, and that's going to be his tail. There we go. Then I'm going to come down to the sea. So you can see we've got our basic whale shape here. Okay, then I'm going to give my whale an eye. So I'm going to do a circle, and then another circle inside there to make his eye. I'm going to give him a mouth. That's just going to be a curvy line here, like that. And then I'm going to do the snail on his tail. So to do the snail, if we can look at the picture, we probably can't see from this far away, but the snail is actually on the very tip of the whale's tail. So I'm going to do like a circle shape, and that's going to be his shell. I might do a little swirl in it. There we go. So that's his shell, and then I'm going to give him a body. So his head's going to be here. There we go. His antennae. And then his body is going to come around like that. There we go. You see? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to just add a couple of things into the background to show the beautiful places they've travelled to. So here, so I'm going to do a line here, and that's going to be like a beautiful island, like a tropical island. And then I'm going to do a palm tree. Just two lines up, coming out of that line, and then the leaves on top of the palm tree. This is sort of like a zigzag line you have to do there. to do some lines going down my palm tree like that. Okay, then I'm going to do the sun, so that's going to be a circle shape with some rays of sunshine coming out. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do some mountains, because remember in the story they saw some mountains, didn't they? So these, I'm actually going to start sort of from the middle of the whale, because they're just behind him, these mountains. So we need to go up and then down. It's a bit like when we do our sound, isn't it? When we write that sound, then up again, it's another one. And then down. There we go. And then there's going to be a little bit, I'm going to do a wavy line here on my mountain, and a wavy line here. And that's so it looks like they're covered in snow. Okay, so I think I'm actually going to leave my picture there. I don't want to add too much more to that, I think it's done. So I'm going to leave my picture as it is now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go away and colour my picture. So I'm going to make sure I use appropriate colours. So what colour do we think the sea is going to be? Yeah, blue, isn't it? And then I'm going to make sure I do my sand yellow, my sun, I might do it orange. Okay, so have a think about what are the best colours to use for your picture as well. Obviously, the whale isn't going to be pink, is it? Okay, so I've done my picture. I'll let you have a go at doing your own picture now and colouring it in as well. And then the next thing we're going to do, we'll start doing some writing, okay? Okay, so I've coloured my picture in now. Hopefully you've done the same with yours. So the next thing we're going to do is start doing some writing on our postcard. So before I write the message from the snail on the other side, first of all I'm just going to write the snail family's address, so that when the snail sends his postcard, it gets to the right place. So let's think about where the snail lives. Can you remember where the snail lives, where his family live? They live on a big rock, don't they? So I'm going to write for my address, I'm going to write Snail Rock. Let's say that together. Snail Rock. Okay, so that's two words, Snail Rock. The first word is snail. Let's stretch out that word because it's got quite a lot of sounds in. Snail. And again, snail. Okay, so my first sound is S for snail. Sn, it's a next. Sn, A. So my A sound, I've actually got it up here. There it is. A like the rain. Sn, A. Sn, A. Snail. Snail. And then the next word is going to be rock. Okay, snail rock. Let's sound out the word rock. R-O-K. Rock. And again, R-O-K. Rock. So I'm going to use R. I'm actually putting a capital R, just like I did with this. The reason I'm using capitals here is because this is the name of a place, okay? And names of places always have capital letters. So like Manchester is the name of a place, so Manchester begins with a capital M. So snail, R, O, and then my K sound, or it's actually our double K. It's up here, it's the curly K and then the kicking K, okay? Or diagraph K. There we go. Snail Rock. And Snail Rock was on the dock, wasn't it? And a dock is where all the ships get kept. So it's a little bit like a car park, except it's for ships. So that's where they all get kept overnight and things and tied up. So I'm going to write the dock. Okay, let's say that again. The dock. Just 2 words, the and then dock. Okay, so that's a tricky word. Here it is. Again, I'm going to put a capital at the start, so capital T for the, because again it's the name of a place, isn't it? The, and then dock. Let's sound out dock. D, o, k, dock. Right, so again, capital D, and then O, and then for my k sound again, it's my digraph k. Okay, so it's curly k, then kicking k. Okay, so now we've written our address on it now. Snail Rock, the dock. Okay, so I've actually finished this side of my postcard now. I've done my picture and I've done my address for where his family live. Okay, where the postcard's going to go to. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to write my message from the snail to his family. So a postcard always starts kind of like a letter, really. Do you remember how we start a letter? Remember, we're writing who the letter is to, aren't we? So we're going to put something like to Mum and Dad, or dear Mum and Dad. For this one, I'm actually going to write dear Mum and Dad. Okay, so let's say that sentence first. Dear Mum and Dad. Okay, and again, dear Mum and Dad. Now we're going to count the words. Dear Mum and Dad. Oh, that's 4 words. Okay, so we're going to start with our first word. Dear Mum and Dad. First word was dear. Okay, let's sound out the word dear. D, ear. There's 2 sounds in that word. D, ear, dear. So we're going to start with a capital D because it's the beginning of our sentence. And then the ear sound, we've actually got it up here. Can you see? There it is, right on the end. So it's 3 letters. It's a trigraph, this one. So we need an F and A and a R, or E-A-R. Okay, dear. Okay, let's go back to the sentence. Dear Mum and Dad. Dear Mum. So our second word is mum. Let's sound it out. Mum. Okay, so we need a capital M because it's a name. So Okay, dear Mum. Let's do the sentence again. Dear Mum and Dad. Dear Mum and. So the next word is and. Let's sound out the word and. 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 So we need an A. N. D. Okay, and. Dear Mum and. Dear Mum and Dad. So the last word in our sentence is Dad. Let's sound out Dad. D, A, D, Dad. So again, a capital D because that's his name, isn't it? D, A, D, Dad. Dear Mum and Dad. Okay, and then right at the end I'm just going to put a little comma because then we're going to carry on with what he's going to say next underneath. Dear Mum and Dad. Okay, right, so we've said who our postcard is to. It's to his family, it's to his mum and dad. Now we're going to write our first sentence about what he has been doing. Okay, so you don't have to write the same sentences as me. You could choose to write your own sentences. You might want to think of your own sentences, and that is great. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so, or if you want to, if you're not feeling confident, you could do the same sentences as me, or maybe just do one or two of the sentences I do, if you think all of them is a bit tricky, okay? So you can either write along with me, if you're not sure how to do it by yourself, or you could pause it after each sentence and you could go away and write each sentence after me, see if you can remember it and then write it. Or, like I said, you could just watch the whole video to get an idea of how to do it and then just completely write your own postcard and your own sentences. You don't have to do the same as me, okay? Right, so my first sentence, I'm going to say it first. So my first sentence is going to be, the whale and I are having lots of fun. Let's say it again. The whale and I are having lots of fun. Okay, so let's count the words in our sentence. The whale and I are having lots of fun. There's 9 words in that sentence, okay? So our first word, the. So again, capital letter at the start because it's the beginning of my sentence, and this is how we write our tricky word, the. There we go. T-H-E. Okay, now the next word is whale. Now I'm not going to sound out this word because it's got some sounds in that we haven't learned yet. So I'm actually just going to write this one for you. Okay, so we spell whale, W-H-A-L. Okay. Parents, if they do use their sounds to write the word whale, so for example if they write it with the A sound here, that's absolutely fine. They don't have to spell it correctly. I'm just modelling it like this to show correct spelling, but they don't have to write it correctly. If they want to use their sounds, then that's absolutely fine. That just shows they're being independent. Okay, so the whale and I are having lots of fun. So the whale and, the next word is and, let's sound that out. And. The whale and. Don't forget to leave your finger spaces between your words like I've been doing as well, okay? The whale and I are having lots of fun. The whale and I. Okay, so I is another tricky word. It's up here. Here it is. The whale and I. The whale and I are having lots of fun. The whale and I are. So the next word is are. Again, that's actually a tricky word. I've got it up here. Can you see it? It's this one here. Are. So we spell it A-R-E or A. The whale and I are. The whale and I are having lots of fun. The whale and I are having. Okay, so let's sound out having. Now, having has actually got 2 syllables in it, 2 bits to it. So we're going to split having up into 2 bits. We're going to clap it out. Having. We're breaking it up into the syllables. Having. So we're going to do have first. Have. So it's her. Have, and then have-ing. So we need to do ing, ing. So it's I. And then the ng sound is up here. Can we see it? It's this one here. So it's an N and a G, or an N and a G. The whale and I are having lots of fun. Are having lots. Let's sound out lots. Lots. Okay? So it's lots. The whale and I are having lots. The whale and I are having lots of. Okay, so let's sound out of. The whale and I are having lots of, what do they have lots of? Lots of fun, didn't they? So let's sound out fun. Fun. Okay, it's going to be fun. And then at the end of my sentence, I need a full stop. Okay, let's read that back. The whale and I are having lots of fun. Okay, I'm actually going to go back and put my sound buttons in that sentence as well. So I'm not going to, and the one before actually, so d, ear, so we need a line for our trigraph, and a dot for our d, ear, mum, dear, mum, and dad, dear mum and dad. I'm not going to put any sound buttons for that one because it's a tricky word. The whale, I'm not going to put sound buttons for this one either because I've just spelled this one for you. I didn't use my sounds for that. The whale and I, again, don't need one there because that is a tricky word. The whale and I are, don't need any there, it's a tricky word. Having, so it's the whale and I are having lots of fun. Okay, you don't have to put the sound buttons in after. It just sometimes helps to see, to help them read it back and to help them see if they've made a mistake, what extra sound they might need to put in, or just to sort of help them with understanding where the sounds go really. Okay, right, so we've done 2 sentences here. We're going to write another sentence. So my next sentence, the snail is going to be telling his family. He's going to say, I get to sit on his tail. Okay, let's say it again. I get to sit on his tail. Let's count the words. I get to sit on his tail. How many words? 7. Okay, so I get to sit on his tail. The first word, I. Okay. Now I don't need to start a new line necessarily. I can just carry on, just leave a little space and carry on here because I've got lots of room left here. So I, that's a tricky word. Okay, so I get to sit on his tail. I get. Okay, so the next word is get. Let's sound it out. Get. 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 I get to sit on his tail. I get to. The next word is to. Again, that's a tricky word. Can you see it? No, it is to. So it's a T and an O, or a T and an R. I get to sit on his tail. I get to sit. So the next word is sit. So let's sound it out. It, sit. It, sit. Like that. I get to sit get to sit on his tail. I get to sit on. So the next word is on, on. Remember to keep leaving those finger spaces between each word. I get to sit on his tail. I get to sit on his. Okay, so let's sound out his, his. So we need her, there we go. I get to sit on his tail. He sits on his tail, doesn't he, in the story? So let's sound out tail, tail. Okay. So again, finger space. A, remember our A sound? There it is. An A and an I, or an A and an I. A, O. There we go. I get to sit on his tail. Let's finish. So I'm going to get a full stop at the end. Okay, so I'm just going to go back and put the sound buttons in. I've already done it for this word actually. So I get, I get to, that doesn't need one because it's a tricky word. It's sit, I've done that one. I get to sit on, his, a, or tail. There we go. I get to sit on his tail. Okay, so written 3 sentences now. Okay, so we're going to do another sentence now. So we're going to write a little bit more detail about what he and the whale do together. Okay, so for my next sentence, I'm going to write, so the snail's talking about the whale here, and he's going to tell his mum and dad, he's going to say, he can swim fast and flip in the air. Let's say that again. He can swim fast and flip in the air. It's a whale, isn't he? He's really good at swimming fast and doing flips and things like that. Okay? So let's count the words in that sentence first. So, he can swim fast and flip in the air. So we've got 9 words in that sentence. He can swim fast and flip in the air. Okay, so our first word is he. Okay, so we're going to start with a capital H because it's the beginning of my sentence. So the word he is a tricky word. This is it here. He. And then capital H because it's the start of the sentence. He can swim fast and flip in the air. He can. So the next word is can. So finger space. So let's sound out can. K, a, n, can. K, a, there we go. He can, so he can swim fast and flip in the air. He can swim. Let's sound out swim. Let's stretch this one out actually, because in case we miss any sounds. Swim. And again, swim. So it's swim. Don't forget to miss out that w sound. It's not sim, it's swim. Okay. He can swim fast and flip in the air. He can swim fast. Okay, let's sound out fast. Fast. And again, fast. So, fast. can swim fast and flip in the air. He can swim fast and. Okay, let's sound out and. We've done this one before actually here. So it's and. And he can swim fast and flip in the air. He can swim fast and flip. Let's sound out flip. Let's stretch it first. Flip. Flip. Let's sound it out. Flip. Flip. So it's flip. There we go. He can swim fast and flip in the air. He can swim fast and flip in. Okay, let's sound out in. Nice and easy. In. He can swim fast and flip in the. Okay, the air. So next word is the. So again, tricky word, T-H-E. Make sure you're leaving those finger spaces between all your words. He can swim fast and flip in the. What did he flip in the? Air. Okay, let's sound out air. In fact, that's just one sound, air. Can we see our air sound up here? It is this one. Here it is, air. So we spell it A, I and R. It's air, like the chair, isn't it? If you remember that from phonics. Okay. He can swim fast and flip in the air. Now, because that's quite exciting, he's talking about him being able to flip in the air. That's really amazing, isn't it? So I'm not going to put a full stop. I'm actually going to put an exclamation mark, and we put that an exclamation mark when a sentence is really exciting or interesting. Okay, so we can use that instead of a full stop sometimes. Right, so I'm just going to check my sentence back and put my sound buttons underneath to help me read it better. So he, that's a tricky word, doesn't need any. Can swim fast and flip in the, that doesn't need one, tricky word. Then air, that's going to have a line because it's a triograph. Okay, there we go. He can swim fast and flip in the air. Okay, so finally we need to say who our postcard is going to be from, don't we? Can we remember who the postcard is from? Who's writing the postcard? It's the snail, isn't it? So our final little sentence is going to be from the snail. Okay, let's say it again. From the snail. Let's count the words. From the snail. Nice and easy. How many words? It's just 3, isn't it? From the snail. So from, let's just stretch that one out. From, and again, from. Let's sound it out. From. So again, capital letter because it's the start of my sentence. There we go. From, okay, finger space, from the snail, from the, so we need the word the, that's our tricky word, the. From the snail. Okay, let's stretch out the word snail. Snail, and again, snail. Okay, going to be, let's just sound that one out as well. S-N-A-L, snail. So it's going to be A. Oh, that was our diagraph A, this one here. A. Oh, okay. And then at the end, I'm going to put a full stop. I'm just going to go back and do my sounds. So, off, from, this doesn't need any because it's a tricky word. A, that gets a line because it's a diagraph. A, snail. Okay, and that is my postcard finished. Let's just read it back, all of it together, to make a bit more sense to us. So, dear Mum and Dad, the whale and I are having lots of fun. I get to sit on his tail. He can swim fast and flip in the air. From the Snail. Okay, so that's my postcard finished. I've done the front with my picture and my address and my stamp, and then on the back I've got my message from the snail. So like I said, you can do this just on a piece of paper. It might be that you want to put some lines grown-ups for your child to work on, but you don't have to. It's not completely compulsory. Just do whatever they're comfortable with. So if they're just comfortable writing dear Mum and Dad and then maybe one sentence and then from the snail, then that's absolutely fine. Just go with what they're able to do. Okay. Equally, if they are struggling with some of the writing things, then it might be that they just draw a picture and then maybe write some initial sounds for what their picture shows. Okay, so there's lots of different ways you can do the activity as well. Okay, right, so I hope that was useful, and good luck with the task, and hopefully I will see you all soon.